is from the first battle in Bosnia. The town had been split in half between Bosnian Serbs and Bosnian Muslims. I heard some shouting and I stepped outside and I saw that they had brought out a middle-aged woman and a man. Turned out to be husband and wife. The man, we found out later, was the butcher. The woman was screaming and the soldiers were screaming and some shots rang out and the man was shot. And at this point the soldiers turned to me and they said, no pictures, don't take any pictures. And then I walked back to the soldiers and then they shot her. And they brought out the sister and then they shot her. I realized that I needed a photograph with the victims and the perpetrators in the same frame, so there'd be no debate that this is real and this is what happened, and people would believe my story. I took a couple of frames of that, I put the camera down, they looked at me, I smiled at them, they smiled at me, and we left.
You took a lot of risk to take this photograph.
I had known the leader of this group from the previous war, a man named Arkan. Arkan was very angry when the pictures were published. I was put on a death list, and then I spent the next 7 years through the war in Kosovo narrowly avoiding him. This is a photograph of Senad Mandanovic. Senad had been ethnically cleansed from his village, and he finally was able to fight with the unit that retook their village from the Serb forces, and he asked me to come with him to his home. And he's standing there and very stoically starts talking about how the entire village, including his family, 69 people, are buried in his front yard. And we're standing on this makeshift grave. It was just so eerie the way that he was talking about it. It was just so calm. And he said, okay, let's go. And we turned to leave. And I looked back, and he had collapsed as we were leaving against this tree and just started sobbing hysterically. And I thought this photograph was very symbolic of not only his personal experience, but probably experience of many of the combatants. Later, these photographs were used by the International War Crimes Tribunal to indict Arkan as part of the Milosevic trial, and most recently with the Bosnian Serb leader Karadzic.
Did you feel there was a sense of bringing justice to the people who had been killed, who you were taking pictures of?
Perhaps maybe the word for me would be a satisfaction that the work was having the impact that it deserved because of the brutality that it expressed. And I think that, as you say, the idea of justice for the people that were killed, being able to play a role in that was very important. When we look back to the Holocaust and World War II, people would say, oh, we didn't do anything because we didn't know. I've now documented 3 genocides, Rwanda, Bosnia, and Darfur. The excuse that the world community has to say we didn't know no longer exists because of the work of myself and my colleagues. And I find that incredibly important.
Do you worry about the danger you face when you cover these stories?
I am essentially terrified from the moment I get on the plane in New York until the moment I come back. So I think fear is, incredibly important. I think you have to figure out how to use fear to be able to not do anything stupid, but also not to paralyze yourself from not being able to work.